the setup. I just got my RAM delivered
Hit
today.
play.
So, oh,
Still loading. Okay.
good evening and welcome to the After Hours show. My name is Joe in Norway. I'll be your cook this evening. This is the third season, the final episode of the third season. We've been doing this after Walter asked us to kickstart it.
Wait, so
So I
how many
guess we'll be
episodes per
starting it.
season? Because by my count, the season should be higher.
Well, 52 weeks in a year, every week.
I'm just joking. I was just joking.
Right on. Well, let's see. Good evening. My name, I got that far. I'm joined by Ann Lee, a retired college professor and a community member of the Daily Coast. They're a member of the National Council of Independent Scholars and is a contributor to the book, The Political Economy of Art, Making the Nation of Culture. We're also joined by Arjun from Deep Into History podcast to provide some historical perspective.
Yeah, and I would just like to say it's a pleasure to be here. And much love to my fellow sexy weirdos all over the world and everyone listening right now.
Right on, my brother. I have to begin with an apology for apologizing. I know you don't like that, but I did promise you that we were going to do some chorus this week, and I kind of lied. I didn't lie, but we're going to postpone it because of the nature of the food we've got this weekend. But
Joe, with your
papadums.
mise en place, you never need to apologize to anyone about anything because that is beautiful as always.
It is.
This is just a part of the show. We're missing we're missing the main ingredients, to be honest, which will be a surprise because we're going out to our outdoor kitchen, our wet kitchen, and we're gonna do some weeding again. So the weeds are in bloom. It's spring. We've got lots of options here. So what I thought I'd do, the types of weeds we're gonna eat two in particular. And they're rather on the bitter side, but they have a special kind of bitterness and funkiness that I didn't want to mask with the seasoning that you use in pakora, like ajuan or lovage seeds or chili or anything. So we're going to do more of shojin, ryori, Japanese Buddhist kind of thing.
So like very, very subtle flavors, flavored by particularly like the ginger and the roots, right?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing tempura wild greens.
Very nice.
Flowers maybe. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a tempura batter, which is could be rice flour. A traditional one is with egg yolk, but since just to remind everybody, it's a historical thing. We're a 100% vegetarian cooking situation going on here at Kitchen ASMR. So we do vegetarian cooking. So I've got cornstarch, white flour. I like to add a little bit of sesame seeds in with the mix. I've got some soda water that we'll be blending to lighten up
Excellent.
the batter, so we get light and crispy. We'll add some salt, and when James C is looking that way, we're gonna add some of the where is it? The white powder of umami.
MSG.
Yeah, and see, like the beauty of what Joe's doing, Anne, is that like he co comes off as non-political. But if you take, he's going from Norway, skipping all of Europe, going through Russia, down through the Far East, and back through Southeast Asia, which is the current, looks like what is going to be the new political paradigm in our world. Brilliant, Joe.
Indeed.
Brilliant.
Indo-Pacific. Yes, indeed.
Delicious, if I will. If I
So
may.
we'll do our batter once we get outside after we've harvested our vegetables. And what I'm going to do is make a dipping sauce that's we got ginger, some scallion, uh, yuzu, which is kind of like a sour lemon, I guess, ish. Traditional Japanese condiment. It's like sour soy sauce
Oh, cool. I've got to try that.
in a soya yuzu, and what else did I have? Mirin, um, maybe a little vinegar. We want something to cut the fat of the fried foods. And in addition, to help us out, we've got our lovely phallic radish here, the daikon. We're going to grate this and put a little dab of soy sauce on the top of that. Grated ginger also helps. You can eat a little bit of ginger while you're in between bites to cleanse your palate and cut the fat you're ingesting.
So is phallic radish its Latin name?
Mm. I believe so.
It's accurate.
I think that's about all we got going on here so far. So nothing too exotic.
No, it looks
It'll
great.
get wild once we get outside,
I honestly
especially.
want to like see how like I said, you always present wonderful mise en place, but this one is like the ingredients are relatively simple. So I'm really looking forward to see what
Yeah.
you come up with because you always come up with something that looks incredible.
Looks fun, and I'm already hungry.
I'm always hungry too. Whenever Joe, right, Ed, like Prof, like every time Joe's cooking, I get hungry.
Yeah.
Oh well, I was going to make something different, but my plant uh, magician or my can you see that we've got ferment. We've got kimchi of squalbiter coal and stinging nettle, but half of it's in Korean, so I could get couldn't figure out the whole recipe, so I got to wait till the young one awaits
Cool.
next week maybe.
I have questions, but we'll go on.
What has something happened this week? You got things to talk about?
Oh God. Aside from Colbert retiring or leaving the air,
Mm.
he managed not to talk about Trump the entire show, and then Trump made ostensibly a death threat, or that he was glad that he was gone, but that he was like a dead person. So, classy guy, our Trump.
Yeah, I think that's
It,
his version of trying to project like remember 1990, the 1990 Batman movie with Jack Nicholson, right? When he kills the mob
yeah,
bosses, he sits there laughing and he goes, Haha, I'm glad you're dead. that was a huge thing back then among the older, coked out post 80s business types. Trust me. So I think he was trying to project that vibe, and it doesn't play.
Yep. Oh, he does that. He does that. He was distracting us from a he got this his private contractor, the guy who did pool work for him at
I love
some
this story.
place,
It's so
and
ridiculous.
he got him on a no bid contract and to paint the reflecting pool. And the whole point, of course, is to have a prettier looking reflecting pool because it's usually pretty murky and dark because of algae, and they pump gray water in and it leaks, and it's cost millions of dollars to just keep it going. So ostensibly the bill has now gone up from 3 million to what, 20 million, and it's just like
It's gonna be 50 million by the end. Watch.
uh
But
it's just weird. Well, it's not
th
weird. It's just more corruption.
I think
Anyway.
Chris Hayes did like he either had someone on or was on his podcast where he was talking to someone who had asked someone who like I don't know what I forget what they're called, but what are they? Masonry? Like the for the
Mhm.
like to redo the what would their quote be for to redo the reflecting pool? And it was 1.3 million. 1.3 million. And
There we
they
go.
said, be like, rip us off. Be really, really like, just rip us off. And the guy was like, I am ripping you off because it's only like $600,000 in material and labor. So, like, this is all
Yeah.
like grift. This is another
Oh, it is.
example.
Totally
Yeah.
off the top. It's just incredible. I mean, well, it's just fascinating. I think he was probably reading into the presidential briefing where they were talking about drone ports in Iran or someplace. Or no, in Russia, I think they have drone ports. They were building new drone ports at one of their air bases. And so I think drone port got into Trump's brain, and he decided that his ballroom would have drone ports on top of it. It's just like he's just totally nuts.
Yes.
Anyway, it's been a busy week. I mean, Congress is sort of turning him down on the ballroom. I think it's just another, we're still in the midst of yakking about it. But uh, needless to say, they'll get bidded down from the $1.2 billion that he wants just to do the damn ballroom. And of course, other people have come up with the fact that there's like a less than a mile away, there's a perfectly good ballroom, and the government actually owns it. So it's just like there's so much stupidity at
Isn't
work
it
here.
literally called the Lincoln Ballroom?
Oh, I guess so. I can't remember recall who.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. Like, I don't understand how they worship this guy as an alpha male when he's like the most queeny like man I have
Indeed,
ever seen. All he
he's very
talks is
beta.
about opera, show business, bitches about celebrities,
Mhm.
and wants to redecorate. Like that's all he
Yeah,
does. He's the queeniest man I have ever experienced, and venal and mean. And I think Congress was sort of wavering. I think in lieu of this Massey defeat, Thomas Massey losing his congressional race in Indiana. And just so if anyone doesn't know, his candidate was like basically a nobody. But because Thomas Massey had come out against
the
Trump
Epstein.
to, yeah, to reveal the
Mhm.
Epstein files precisely, um, this other guy decided to run against him,
Yeah.
and with Trump's endorsement and um, millions and millions of dollars from APAC, and
Mm.
it was insane. This is the most expensive congressional race in history.
New
Um,
record. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
in on television advertising alone, I should say, $33 million were spent. it's insane, and he lost badly, like by double digits. Um,
Well, Massey uh,
Not a good
was
man, but
oh,
you know what I mean.
no,
Quick,
no. I
quick,
mean,
kitchen,
I mean,
quick
he's
interruption.
go ahead.
Kitchen flavor interruption tip. Remember when you slice your scallions, if you want to yield a little extra flavor, you can tamp
Crush them.
your knife down, crush them a bit. That'll break the cell walls and
Yeah,
it'll issue a bit more flavor for you.
Good tip.
yeah. It's like smashing your garlic and stuff like that, or rolling your onion. The round onion, this circle onion,
For
uh,
sure.
or in rolling your lemons and shit like that, stuff like that. Um,
You could say shit like that.
Thomas Massey, not really a good guy. He kind of has a voting record like Chip Roy or whatever. They're really
Yeah,
right
he's like a
wing stuff.
sociopath. Like he's not an ally.
No, no, he's crazy, and he's got a legit. I don't know if it. I guess it's functional. He probably has a class 3 license for his M60 machine gun that he shows in his Christmas card.
For sure.
So, I mean, no real liberal is going to actually, kind of should feel that badly necessarily about Tom Massey not being there.
How dare you insult the
I,
brave men of Pod Save America? They were weeping. They were
I
weeping, Professor Ann.
yeah, darn liberals. Uh, I mean,
They always let us down, even in
this
this
was a
context.
stunt.
So, sorry, please go.
Stunt. It was a stunt. And what that's kind of where the week has gone. Massey loses. More ballroom idiocy. The Iran war is still the Iran war. They the Congress decided, or the Speaker ostensibly decided to reduce the week down to 2 days. That the work week went from 5 or 7 to down to 2, and then they're off on recess, I guess, again. So stuff is terrible. I mean, talk about an ineffectual Congress, etc. It's just amazing that this is. Well, we still have a government, sort of, but the crazy guy. I sort of have stopped looking at his tweets or Truth Social posting, because I mean sometimes he just says stuff that's totally out of his mind, and I I don't, and unfortunately, people who post trolling or fake versions of Trump uh, on Twitter, for example, um, they put absurd stuff, but now you begin to believe that the absurd stuff is really coming out of Trump's head. So this is very bad. And you have to just learn to trust some people at least. Anyway, back to the war. Wars,
Which
nothing,
one?
no one died. I don't think anyone died this week. There were, stuff got launched. Stuff, ships are getting through. In fact, the real number of ships getting through is unclear because everyone's spoofing or turning off their transponders. So, the data doesn't look, the data is problematic. Let's just put it that way. I think there are a lot more ships going through than people realize. That's one thing. The
Yeah.
second thing is that the Revolutionary Council or whatever uh, uh, decided that they would declare most of the Strait of Hormuz Iranian, which is just absurd. But the area of control they want to include, literally all of what Oman and other stuff. So it's just
I think
it's
that
been an absurd week.
I think knowing Persians very well, as my favorite aunt, my mother's brother's wife, Mershid auntie, is Persian, and his family left with the fall of the Shah, because they're Baha'i, not because they
Mm.
were pro-Shah. Um, I can tell you, like Persian people, like what that is just sort of like, that's the 100% maximum of what they want. What they expect is 50% of that, meaning that they would like some concession to be drawn so that they can rebuild. Like it's a way for the US to save face, right?
Right.
Allow the Iranians to charge a toll for even if they say for 20 years you can do it. Enough that they can it allows both sides to save face. Okay?
Mm,
War's over. No one won. Done. We're all safe and we can rebuild ourselves. We don't neither side has to um, compensate the other, and they're probably going to go for maybe a 25% reduction in
mm,
sanctions from the
mm,
US, and with like Europe having to give it all up. And I think the Europeans will do that immediately because
mm.
Iran has all that power right now.
Yeah. It's just interesting
There,
that and there's lots of stuff going on in the background too. I mean,
I mean,
I'm sure
Lebanon
this was
is a
a
bloodbath right now.
I was just going to
it,
mention that there's been
stuff still
people dying
happening.
every day from the Lebanese
Oh yeah.
bombing of the Lebanese. So the ceasefire is only,
Yeah, the central
one-sided for Israel. But that
100%
issue
this.
we were mentioning, Arjun, with the sea lanes, it's complicated by international law. They're supposed to allow the free flow of traffic through international waters, not to charge
For
the
sure.
toll. But
No, absolutely.
mm,
But things are different
Well,
now.
the volume may force that. In other words, you've got multiple lanes, and if they declare half of, the sovereignty line should be probably halfway anyway. If there's going to be the easy pass lane, and then there's going to be the toll lane. I think that's kind of how things have happened,
Yeah,
and they
like
probably have bargained down the tolls. I mean, you probably have ships and insurance companies and a whole bunch of other things, worrying about the tolls
plus Oman is
or
playing
negotiating. Let's put it
Switzerland.
that way.
Oman is playing
Yes.
Switzerland right now at this moment. However, Oman and Iran have very, very good relations. Have like historically.
Mm,
You know, it has it like even post-revolution at the worst times between the US, Oman and Iran have always maintained at least been cordial and they've grown closer, especially
mm,
with the ridiculous opulence and disgusting behavior of like the UAE and the
mm,
Saudis. They've grown closer and closer together because Oman is not even close to as rich. Like
yes.
not like remotely close. They're more akin
Mm.
to Iran. So, there could be a deal where like Oman ends up being the Qataris in this case, internationally speaking,
Oh,
and saying
that's
we
true.
we agree we're going to charge this very modest fee anything that passes through our waters and we'll split it equally and that's it. Like there are a
Yeah.
lot of like good ways out of this, but the problem
Mm.
is the Trump administration is like sociopathic.
Wow.
oh boy,
They're just nuts. I
the
mean,
kitchen situation, Arjun, it's raining. What
oh my
what
God.
could be better for deep frying than, than
Then
rain?
water?
I don't know if
Jeez.
you can see. I'm not even on. Oh, I think I'm gonna have to do it indoors here in the shed. Oh man.
Yeah, Joe,
Normally I have my
have hot
assistants
boiling
out.
oil and rain. It's a
I
bad
I
idea.
I, I deep fry. I'm known to deep fry in all weather conditions, kind of like the post. But I typically will have at least one person with an umbrella above me. Yeah. All right, we're gonna have to work on this
You're
setup here.
you're gonna
Oh
need
man,
a tent or something, or
I think we need
some
some
sort of.
Oh,
lights in here, maybe
wait.
as well.
Breaking news. Update from the chat. Professor John is alive and well. and is
Oh,
listening from bed as we speak. So, Prof. John, we love you, we miss you, and we're so glad you're here. Get well soon, brother.
oh, I wish I could
And,
serve some
and
of our meal tonight. I think it would go great for his belly.
indeed, better than that gas station sushi he said he was eating.
Yeah, John, did no one ever tell you that the best way to kill a cold is to feed it? I always hated when people told me that.
Oh man. But folk wisdom is coming back. Um, well, since I started yakking about, yeah, it's true that nothing has changed relative to Hezbollah versus Israel. So as far as I can tell,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, it's not getting as much coverage as it should get, and it's been, sort of shunted by a bunch of other kind of ideas that are kind of in the works. There's a UAE pipeline that's going to, a terrestrial pipeline that's going to bypass the isthmus or whatever, and
Good luck
the
with
Strait of
that.
Hormuz. Yeah, good
The
luck with. Well,
the
they
UAE's
say they're
plans
going
are so insane. Like it's like these like there's like okay, they're so rich and they have been so rich. The leaders of the UAE have been so rich for so long, they have lost their minds. Like they have no concept of reality. They're
to.
they're ostensibly emirs, like Arab Muslim leaders,
Mm,
and they've aligned with Israel.
yeah.
Like it's an
That's
anathema to
bananas.
being Arab.
Mm,
Like literally, like that's crazy.
indeed. Well, but that was the whole point with the Abraham Accords was essentially, to try and to get capital freer
Normalizing
flowing.
Israel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's normalizing Israel. I mean, it's just it's still yes, yeah, I agree with you. It's pretty much about money, um,
I think,
and
and
it's
there's also a game going on between uh like the UAE and Saudi Arabia. There's like a like a World War I style, like the monarchs are all second cousins and they're all a little crazy because they're all a bit related for several generations.
oh God.
That kind of vibe is going on there between the two, and if you put Israel in the mix,
Mm.
this is a recipe for disaster.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and the whole point of that, all that little Abraham business was to sort of try. It was, as Joe was saying, it's normalizing it. It's trying to get. It doesn't really get peace. All it does is get collusion, reasonable collusion, whatever the hell that might be. Um, on the other hand, that pipeline is supposed to be in place in a year, or by 27. That terrestrial pipeline is supposed to go through. So who
I'm
knows?
moving into my condo in Noam next fall actually. Or
Oh,
Neom, excuse me,
you must
Neom.
have gotten a
I'm gonna
good
be
deal
part
on
of
that
the
one.
line. I'm
Did you get
going to
like a
be in the line,
95%?
and you guys will never hear from me again.
You get a 95%
I
discount?
will be line.
Oh
I don't
man.
believe any of these people, anything any of these leaders are saying right now. It's all just like BS and bluster, and they think that they're outwitting each other. And for some reason, I can't believe I'm saying this. The Islamic Republic of Iran is the only party in this that's making sense. Like
That,
it's insane. Like if you really think about what's happened to the world, they're the
oh,
reasonable party. It's crazy.
it's unreal. I mean, the new capital in Egypt and a bunch of and those Saudi building projects are always weirdly over, they're just extreme. Oh, the line is probably a good example of that.
Have you seen what's going like how how like Russia bought a whole bunch of YouTubers during the election, Tim Pool, like
Mhm.
Cooler with Cooler Guy, all those losers. Uh, um uh Mohammed bin Salman has been buying some very very like prominent um like architecture or building project YouTubers who had previously like mocked and castigated the idea of Neom and this entire stupid project. But what the spin, the few that have taken the money, because I think a lot of them are too big to risk their credibility.
Mm.
But the lesser tier, and there are several hundred of them, a lot of them have taken the money, and what they have done is that they're presenting this entire project of Neom and all that um as a way for him to move. You know how like those tribes, he had to move like several 100,000 people
Yeah, yeah,
forcibly from like their
yeah, yeah.
ancient entities, stuff like
Mm.
that. And because he recently recognizes the founding, officially recognized the founding of Saudi Arabia only by his great great grandfather
Ah,
and not Al-Wahhab, who was like sort of like his like right arm, like his general,
mm,
right fist, who
yeah,
and very, 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 very extremist religious guy, which is where
mm,
like Wahhabism comes from, that
mm,
extremist version of Islam. It was the first time ever that he only recognized any Saudi monarch only recognized the founding king and not Al-Wahhab.
mm.
So they're spinning it as if this entire like disastrous, I don't know how many billions they wasted um digging this ditch across the desert across Saudi Arabia. But they're spinning it as if that was a distraction to move those people, which were apparently the most extreme Wahhabists, and
Right, right. I
make
recall.
Saudi Arabia into a secular kingdom, which is complete horseshit, but you have to admire the gall.
It's gall. Yeah, literally, truly, it's pretty nervy to try and I mean they were displacing not a lot of people. I don't know if that a lot of people were going to be displaced by that thing, but it's pretty clear that they were displacing them by force. So that was, and the fact that they didn't negotiate it in the at the front end is pretty clear too. I mean, that's pretty, whatever imperial
Mm.
behavior. Um, so, you know, I don't know. It is what it is, as they say. That with the moving of the capital of Egypt, whatever the hell that thing is a whole nother set of problems that are going to occur
It's
in the
yeah,
Well,
no,
future.
oh,
that's
Alexander.
a dead project as far as
Oh, it
Oh.
is.
well, because Sisi took that money and built a like a new capital center about
Mm.
I think it's 50 miles away from Cairo, connected it with its only like
Mm.
advanced public transportation
Ah,
system.
okay.
But like he spent
It's like a
50
new Chinese
billion
city out there,
dollars.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Mm.
the problem is no one can go there because like the plumbing isn't right, the water isn't right. Like it's a Griftopia. It's like it's like if Trump tried to build like Washington at Mar-a-Lago. What do you think would happen? Do you think anything would work? It's
No,
like Putin's Sochi.
it's just yes, it's like Sochi. And well, Sochi is really interesting relative to Putin because he doesn't own his big villa down near Sochi. It's owned by somebody else, but he uses it, so it's just like his yacht. They're two identical yachts. He's got one of them, and they're still owned by somebody else, but it's his. And so Putin technically is the richest guy in the world, but nobody knows that he is. And
Right.
Mm.
Elon can do whatever the hell he's going to do. So that there's a whole bunch of stupid things that are going on.
I'm so angry that
Uh,
Oh,
President
kitchen interruption before you move on. Uh, Arjun, have you seen my wet kitchen? Have you seen my setup here?
no, I haven't. Explain.
oh, the blast furnace there.
Yeah, I've got a professional wok burner.
Very nice.
Instead of the 8,500 BTUs in the Western restaurant kitchen, this is 180,000. So it's
Love it.
Look at that. Look at that.
we'll get the we'll get the
Oh my
oil
God.
going, but
This is
I
like Southeast Asian street cooking
yeah,
level. I love it.
That's right.
this
That's
is
right.
my street vendor situation going on. I
I
just
love
set
it.
up a new table. Had some wonky tables before. These are three huge boards of birch from my
Wow.
grandfather-in-law, who had a sawmill across the street.
Oh
We got
Yeah.
wow.
that on some
Nice.
sawhorses. We got the cooking gear there. We've got instrumentation. We got all our sauces and stuff. Cutting board, trash,
Nice.
oil receptacle, water. We don't have running water. That's the main issue.
Who
So
needs
it's
water when it's raining? I love your setup,
uh,
man. It's no,
That's
seriously, it's really it's dope.
yeah.
And I love your wok. Like it's well seasoned.
dude.
Mm.
I got this in Chinatown in Cleveland. Brought it all the way to Norway in my suitcase. Somehow it fit in my suitcase. I didn't have much and all my gear.
I love it. I love it. I like, yeah, trust me, when I travel, I bring the most impractical things back, and I'm like, by God, I don't care. Come customs or high water, I'm getting this through.
Uh, we uh our friend Professor John is under the weather tonight and not available. And I have no real suggestions about what we're going to do on the schedule tonight, but just seems to me we could we could watch Silicon Valley early, or we could
Mhm.
watch one of these contraband programs, the ones where you're going through customs in Peru, there's an interesting channel that does, well, it's not an interesting channel, it's National Geographic. They they have a whole series of people being stopped by customs at different airports. And it's, to me, it's always amazing because people come up with either no excuse or excuses, and there's so many mules being, you know, uh, unfortunately detained in really weird ways. I mean, and they explain that, the person does seem to have, once they run them through an X-ray scanner, they have all these um, drug balloons in them. And what's more interesting is the people trying to explain their way out of these things. That's what I've always found interesting, is that the whole, discourse situation where the cops are saying one thing and the other person doesn't have a good excuse. And that not having a good excuse is really problematic when you're going through customs. So anyway,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Prof N from the chat. Thank you, Harsh and Anna. Uh, we should address Jeff Bezos' comments on CNBC. What did you think about his thoughts on how he should be taxed and
Oh,
billionaires in
oh,
hold
general?
on to that. We're at the another
forging.
kitchen interruption. Hold on to Bezos. I
You
just
hold on to
walked out.
Bezos, I'll wait.
I just walked out into the backyard, and here we've got cardamom pratensis of the meadow. This is in the cruciferous family. It's related to mustards and cabbages. John, you're gonna love this. It's like watercress. You can decorate your salads with these dainty leaves or those pretty little purple flowers. Can eat the whole thing. And I think we're gonna deep fry
Cool.
that sucker.
You know what I love
Wow.
about you, Joe? I trust you so much that you could say the name of the plant and I would believe you anywhere.
Oh God.
We're
Well,
pretty
we
we're
should.
pretty sure we've
Because if you'd be like
100% no.
Rosicrucian experimentalis, and I'd be like, "Yep, that's what it is," and I would die by it.
You might, Lane might know this by cuckoo's flower or cuckoo's spit, because there's I think it flowers when the cuckoos are arriving in England, but this it has this kind of slimy spit that's secreted from some, not the cuckoos, but some insect that lives on it.
Interesting.
We don't have any snotty development here, so.
Oh God. We were talking about
Ancient food.
Travis
Hold
was
on a minute there. Let's see. It was cuckoo spit, engkars, or polar karsh in Norwegian. It's kind of like watercress or lady's smock or mayflower or milkmaids. It has all of this kind of virginal Middle Ages kind of symbology around its history.
That's why I love like our crew and like this autonomous collective because it's like, you know, at once like political science class and going to Hogwarts at the exact same time.
Oh wait,
David.
what do I got here? Behind my
Oh,
kitchen door, oh, I've got a beautiful number 2 dandelions, otherwise known as. Let me check my notes here. Taraxacum officinale from the Asteraceous family. So they're found. I'm pretty sure you can find these just about everywhere on the planet. Remember, the younger leaves, the better, especially like these babies. If it's
You
a
have
plant that
you have,
hasn't flowered,
you have
then
to pick
it's
them
less bitter.
you have to pick them early, right? Because like when they
Yeah.
get that's when they get prickly when they're older.
Yeah, well, there's different types. Some are prickly, some aren't. Um, these will be bitter because they're almost ready to bloom, but I'm gonna do the whole thing there. But the buds, so tasty. I prefer them like this than the actual flowers, but you can do the flower as well. I think we have
a
some.
note to people at home: don't just go run out to the back of your shed and think you're going to eat the stuff nearby. That's one thing. And secondly, there's a lot of chemicals that are normally outside your place.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah. So
word of warning.
Yeah, but how
so
else
these
are we
were
gonna find
open
out
earlier,
which
but
of
they
you
they
guys are
close at
the
night.
professor, the teachers of the dark arts, the at our at this Hogwarts of ours? How are we gonna know if it's Joe in Norway or Professor John?
So they're closed up at night, but if you're going to deep fry these, and I highly recommend you deep fry some dandelions, young dandelions, or even ones that have the blossoms uh, that are not coated with chemicals or exhaust or whatnot. But the flowers are nice, but the leaves are better, way better.
Such foraging.
I
Love
gotta say,
this.
I'm like jealous. Living in the city sucks.
I'm
I mean,
dude.
not jealous, but and you know, like happily envious. I'm glad you have this, brother. That's awesome.
And
Well,
it is weird. This is the first time out in the country for an extended period of time.
we may bring back or help urban farming efforts by our talking about running outside and getting stuff. Um, although I'm sure a lot of people have pretty good roof gardens these days. Anyway,
Yo,
not that
Prof.
I've lived.
N, speaking of not us being forced not to run out and get stuff, Jeff Bezos, what did you
Well,
think?
Yeah.
Because that was ridiculous.
I just think he's insane. It's just part of being old. That's just my opinion. The fact that he even swung the original deal with Trump. I mean, it's sort of naked, corruption that I just find that all pretty bizarre. I don't have much opinion about Bezos. I try to ignore him, but I do know that
Could you
he's really
refresh my memory or inform me about what you're talking about? Because I completely don't know.
Arjun. You brought it up.
Oh, there's Arjun.
Um, Sorry, I was just looking up a quote to sum it up. But in essence, what Bezos said was taxing the rich is insane. The idea of doing that
Oh,
because all
right.
the productivity comes from the top.
That's right. It's all
And
trickled down.
yeah, so this is the quote that came to mind when I was thinking about like to sum up um uh what Bezos says. It's a French saying. It says après moi le déluge. Forgive my pronunciation. Après moi le déluge. It means after me the flood. It means after I'm gone, as long as I'm at the top and I go out at the top, the world can die. Like the
Oh,
flood, the biblical flood, you know?
oh yeah.
And I think
Yeah, yeah.
that is what is reflected in every single one of these billionaires' words. We try. the- I mean, countless hours have been, we're not, we're also not guilty. We discuss these people. But if you really think
Hmm.
about it, that's all their philosophy boils down to me.
Uh,
Like
not
after,
Well,
more
as
it's the
long as
moral
they have
ultimate
support,
mine,
form.
while I'm
not not
alive, the world
not
can
eat cake,
burn.
not let
Sorry?
them eat cake. I thought it would have been let them eat cake.
Yeah, I think Marie Antoinette is fundamentally understood. But these motherfuckers are not. I promise you. These guys are literally are forget MAGA. They're the doomsday cult. These guys at the
Ooh.
top are the doomsday cult. They literally, indeed, let them eat balls. These guys would have so much money that they've become so detached from reality. It's very much akin to like this is the closest thing we would ever have to the idea of like it's very hard to understand how like terrible rulers through history. Think about like Caligula or Henry VIII or like any bad ruler you can put into your head, how they had so
Mm.
many sycophantic people around them.
Hmm.
See a figure like Musk or Bezos and see their fan bases and how huge they are. The relatively huge segment of humanity follows these people and will feed off their every word. That's how
Well, yeah,
it like neo-feudalism. What can I say?
it is. That's what I was going to say. That it is feudalism. It's neo-feudalism, and with the tech bros, it's techno-feudalism. It's all there. I mean, it is simply power from the top. I mean, it is fascinating. That's all. That as I said, Bezos is just he's just aged a lot, as far as I can tell. And for whatever reason, maybe it's the new wife. Whatever.
Yeah, she seems really energetic.
Oh
And if
God.
you're like 65, that's got to run your heart down pretty fast.
And she got the Mar-a-Lago sort of treatment or whatever, and
Yeah, I know.
so there's this sort of
Everyone looks like the
Stepford.
goddamn Joker now. What is wrong with you?
It's Stepford wives. I have no idea. In fact, Trump may or may not show up at his son's wedding this weekend. Um, whatever.
Wait,
It
who is he
should be.
marrying?
I think she's a socialite of some kind in Miami. She's very attractive,
Well, I'm sure she is, but
and I
so they
guess
said
likes idiots.
they said Kimberly Gargoyle to be his ex, I'm assuming, to be
Yeah,
ambassador of Greece, and then he started dating this woman, and now he's marrying her. That's like MAGA in a nutshell for you.
absolutely.
Or, or
Yeah, absolutely. The new girlfriend, that they're going to do something or other, whatever.
What can you do for me
Maybe
now?
it's just so
Nothing else matters.
exactly. It's all purely transactional in
John,
that sense. So.
John, I think the best thing when you're under the weather is to, I think maybe some deep fried food would be good for you. We got some wheat, we got some bitter greens. dandelions and Äggekars, Polarkatsche, uh, deep fried bitter greens are, especially a tempura with a light crust, is such a wonderful way to eat these things that you might not enjoy otherwise. But let's give it a shot. So we've got our dandelions, we've got some unopened dandelion flowers, and then we have some closed ones here. And then we got the cushions. See what they look like.
Nice. Well, I mean, some people have said that, everything tastes good fried. It's from the same sort of school that state fairs sort of indulge in, where you
Mhm.
can deep fry butter.
Oh
Mm.
my God, I can't wait to go. Yeah, in California, like when I lived in California for 8 years when I was a kid growing up, and then after as an
Look at
adult
those beauties.
for six more. And in California, it's so healthy. We never got like, let's just like deep fry a chocolate bar and Coca-Cola. I need to see what that's like.
I My guilty pleasure, of course, is certain networks, television cable networks that do well. They run around. Well, I mean, they have people who are like the evil Knievel of food, who eat like anything. But then there's one whole program on carnival food that I find actually quite interesting. They don't indulge the really bizarre stuff like deep frying butter, but
Oh,
there
yo,
there are some strange
I'm a
things.
food pervert, so I got the YouTube links for you. I will send them to you because oh my God, Prof M, let's do it. I'm with you.
I mean, well, if just nothing surprises me, but I like the idea of deep frying, almost anything, and
Well,
Well, this
particularly
is
with a
this
good
one,
batter.
yeah.
the milkmaid flowers. I've never deep fried these. So
Well, this should be an
look at that
experiment.
beauty. Look at that. Oh,
Look at that.
That's like, yeah, that's more convincing than the UFO images that I saw this week.
Oh God,
oh,
we're in
it's a
trouble. The
little
nation is in
thin.
trouble.
Might need a little extra flour.
Well, other things happened in our week away. I mean, there's been the residual of Ukraine decided that they would send 1,000 drones at Moscow. I think they were doing it just to show that they could send 1,000 drones. And I don't know what the figures are for the knockdown ratio, because the knockdown ratio is pretty good for Ukrainians. I don't know how good it is for the Russian. Um, I
No,
certainly wouldn't want to stand too close to anything in Moscow. There's probably all this microwave stuff going on, and the air must be really covered. As a residual from relocating all that air defense around Moscow, because they were really afraid that Ukraine was going to send something to the May 9th parade. But anyway,
like
Putin's out of the country, you know.
it's sort I don't know,
So,
like the Ukrainians' motives, I'm conflicted. At one side, on one point, they are making, untold billions, more aid than the US ever given them by supplying counter drone technology to Saudi Arabia and UAE right now. Like, oh my God, they are making money cat like hand over fist. Like almost this is the best their economy has ever been in a certain way.
mm,
But
it's probably it's Keynesian, it's military Keynesianism. But anyway, carry on.
yeah,
Sorry.
but at the same time, like this war is just showing us the futility of war in the era of like drones. Like you see that also with
Oh,
like
yeah.
the IDF in Lebanon. They're getting like
Mm.
massacred. Like you should like even the New York Times is talking about it. Like
Mm.
they
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like why fight wars when it's guaranteed that it's impossible to win for anyone?
Yes, or difficult anyway, unless you throw even more capital at it. And the U.S. is now consulting with the Ukrainians about their tech. So,
Well, the
ultimately with multinational corporations doesn't really quite matter. I mean, it's all going to wind up, on both sides anyway. Anyway.
Well, yeah, but for them right now, well, I mean, yeah, well, they're multinational corporations and then there's tech. There, you know what I
Mm.
mean? There's a difference. Tech is
Oh yeah.
100, like the vast bulk, the most socialized companies in the entire world are the tech. They are sucking
Mm.
on the proverbial government teat across the world
Mm.
by providing surveillance, battlefield information, these AR targeting BS, which we know is BS because
Yes.
the Israelis just leveled Gaza because everything was a target. And believe it or
Mm.
not, every single building was provided by Palantir. Um,
Mm.
and Palantir also provided the Pentagon with the targeting information that caused them to bomb that girls' school.
Yeah.
This is like BS tack, but they're so invested in it that I think the reason they're rushing these humanoid robots right now. You saw did you guys see that stupid display of a robot dancing to a Michael
Yeah.
Jackson song? And he was dancing like after me at a wedding where I had a breakup and I was really upset and I drank enough to kill an elephant. That's how that robot danced. And I think what they're trying to suggest to the establishment is that we can replace your human soldiers, the West or the rich countries' human soldiers with these like automatons. That's why we should keep funding the war machine. And I think they're buying it, unfortunately.
Well, the question is whether such robots, need to be anthropocentric. That's the one thing. The Ukrainians are winning the war essentially with unmanned ground vehicle robots. They have like 8,000 of them or something. I mean, it's a credible number of ground-based robots that they've got out there, and you don't have to expend any, there is human time, of course, but they're sitting in a little, bunkers somewhere. And this one device with, massive armament and a lot of ammunition is holding the line. Um, and the fact that they have so much electronics is that, they're really hard to kill. Um, I don't, and that data has not been very available about how the Russians have coped with the military ground robots. I mean, there's all the other stuff with FPVs and stuff, and there's all kinds of interesting stories and anecdotes, and it's really unfortunate that the internet is used to show murder or killing in such wide ranges. Although it is quite fascinating to see how they operate. You get your drone down there, goes inside the building, looks around, finds the person hiding in the corner, and then wipes them out. It's really pretty grisly.
No,
Um,
no, absolutely. I just wanted to ask you about that because, like, when I think it's a post-Gaza thing. Like, I think we've all seen so much
oh,
violence projected into our brains, if you're on social media at all, that like you're kind of desensitized to the horrific idea of like a drone going and killing any human being, regardless of how vile.
oh, yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, it's becoming ubiquitous. Let's put it that way. It's really
Oh,
unfortunate. Oh,
kitchen
carry on,
interruption.
Joe.
The main event. This is what I've been waiting for all night. The greens. You might be asking, kind of like lettuce, why would you cook lettuce? Or why would you deep fry greens? That's crazy. They're so delicate. But
Let's put it in like a Klingon context for
look at
Professor
this.
Jean.
Look at this.
John,
This definitely looks like something
tonight you shall
from,
have your gach cooked because you are ill and you must
oh
get
no,
better.
got two stuck together.
Look at that.
They look kind of like fish with the bones.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
They look beautiful. I love it.
Or like Christmas trees.
Nice.
They're possibly the tastiest thing, tastiest tempura I've ever had.
Mm,
Dandelion. And the bitterness helps cut the fat that you're getting.
mm,
John, this will
nice.
clear your insides out real quick.
Roughage. That's what you need is roughage.
Better than a bat left through your intestines.
Oh God. Yes. Klingon food.
That looks no, honestly, that's beautiful. I wish we could all like we gotta have a we gotta have like an international get together one day.
I'm
Crunchy,
hungry.
crispy. Oh, so damn good.
Yum. Well, I don't know what it's been such a terribly busy week and strange in all of its weirdness. Um, there's still more special elections coming up. For some reason, well, it's for obvious reasons, I suppose. Trump decided that he would support Ken Paxton against John Cornyn in Texas, which has all kinds of other implications. And there's probably a lot more going on in the background with, oil oligarchs and stuff. I'm writing a thing on why the U.S. would give uh, a, a French energy corporation money to move their or to not support uh, uh, wind farm construction on the East Coast, and instead, as a replacement, I suppose, but they get the extra billion anyway to move almost a billion of that same money to support uh, oil drilling and stuff in Texas. So that's not enough is being made of that. The fact that we're just giving away money to foreign countries to invest in what they would normally probably invest in anyway if you just told them to do it. So, it's more graft, it's more corruption.
It's we're ruled by perverts. Like, I mean, that's what it is. Like, like completely greed obsessed. These people, like, look at them. They're like pink and orange and fat. They're like just like the gross embodiment of like everything that is wrong with our system. If you see them, they're just like human greed and like all the worst instincts of human personified because the system has been corrupted to this point.
Well,
Are you
it's
still going on
with
about the Epstein issue? Oh, again?
I
with
will
with
never
res-
stop.
with respect, it is all about what you can get away with. I think Epstein is a good example of, that kind of thing is that he had his tentacles everywhere,
And
including in Norway for
and
some reason.
oh yeah, Joe,
Um,
you got your country is not innocent. They're all
Oh
up
no.
in the you guys have the
Oh
dirtiest of
yeah.
fingers. But
I didn't get to the news this week. Yes, the
what a
Norwegians are
distraction.
wanting to engage Russia with a pan-Scandinavian front.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The alliance is gonna shift. Okay, if this war continues for the summer, it is gonna go from Norway all through Russia, all the way down the Far East, through India, and back to the Middle East. Like it'll be world alliances can completely shift because every like if you notice what's happening in Southeast Asia right now, like they're the first kind of like gas riots and
mm,
in South America
Mm,
too. South America is
mm.
too dominated by US military power for it to get too out of hand. However, on the
Mm,
other side of the world, like alliances are shifting. New
mm.
Zealand just signed a pact with who is it? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I think it might be Vietnam. They
mm,
guaranteed
Mm.
crude. Uh, no, sorry. Let me look it up. Basically, what happened was New Zealand guaranteed a like another medium power in Southeast Asia uh, produce Singapore, excuse me, Singapore.
Oh, well, there
Yeah,
you go.
guaranteed Singapore food and Singapore guaranteed New Zealand all the oil it wants, as long as Singapore is supplied with food. It's like you're seeing like these like mini alliances forming, like
Mm.
absent great power or the UN for the first time in a very, very long time.
Well,
And
yeah, I agree with you. It really is realignment, and unfortunately, in the case of Indo-Pacific stuff, China is still the big dog in this whole business here. It's unfortunate, and but
I don't know,
even
China's looking
the
pretty
Trump
good right now.
administration has tried to get. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, the spin is, of course, meet the new hegemon, same as the old hegemon. But the Trump administration indulges in such stupid stuff that they sent their special envoy to Greenland, uh, who happens to be the governor of Louisiana, and it's his first. I think it's his first time
That was
in
so
Greenland,
funny.
and he shows up and he tries to give out MAGA hats, and people are just telling him to screw off and America go
Little
home
kids
stuff.
told him to F off.
Oh, would you
That's
guys look
right.
at
And
this? Look at this little
chocolate chip
puffball.
cookies.
Oh my God, who needs Cheetos when you've got little milkmaid, fried milkmaid flowers?
That looks so good, man.
Mm.
Honestly. And you're a true chef. The crispy
So,
bits that fall off are the best parts. That's
all right, let,
right.
let's go inside.
I got dropped out for a second. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. So, guys, why don't we since Prof John is sick, why don't we just open it up and anyone
Open
here
dialogue.
who wants to speak up, we can discuss, have a discussion.
Yeah, it's not
You-
like Ask Me Anything, but there's plenty to talk about, needless to say.
Yeah, and if you want to like drive Prof John nuts because he's ill and he can't talk, ask me why DS9 is better than the next generation.
Indeed. You actually
I'm
will.
just joking, John. I wouldn't do that to you.
That would be an interesting argument, although I happen to like Voyager for a variety of other reasons. Because there's things that subvert the Star Trek narrative, and I suppose there's probably sessions on this at Trek conventions, but it is Voyager was interesting because it indulged certain ideas about whatever the other multidimensional spaces are, and I kind of like that idea that you had this kind of things that were in this fluid or whatever that were menacing and quite interesting. Anyway.
No, no, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I think every single iteration of Star Trek has its merit. Um, for sure. And you know what? I generally like all of them.
Well,
I've
I mean, they took a they screwed with the narrative in a variety of ways. Sending uh, uh, the Voyager crew to Santa Monica was kind of the weirdest kind of episode. We should actually show that episode just because it's very weird. But we'll probably never get there considering that we're watching in sequential order. But I find they're just interesting sort of subplots that are kind of fascinating. And then the one where uh, somehow and the mechanics of it, particularly from a quantum sort of point of view, is how they get uh, uh, Captain Janeway to well anyway spoiler alert it they sort of send her through time, and I can't quite figure out how that
no
episode
spoilers. It
that
was like 20 years ago. Don't worry.
I just don't get how their time and dimensional travel stuff works out. I have no problem with it because I think that it's interesting, to try and figure out the quasi scientific elements of, whether it is or it isn't time travel, or that time travel, as Rick Sanchez says, is the iced tea of quantum physics. But anyway, um, so what is
I 100
John?
I 100% get you. I
John
think
is answering with a smiley face in our chat.
look at that. Back to the mise en place. So he comes back
Well,
right where we
I,
started
I
at the
I really
perfect
need a
time.
I need a flat. I need a dark plate. I got to find something. Hold on.
But Prof. N,
Must.
I get what you're saying. Voyager was more experimental. The main series, like TNG, DS9, were more scientific, if you will, right? And I think in
Yeah.
the that latest series, what was it called?
See,
Not
I haven't watched
before
anything. Oh,
Enterprise. Does anyone else say in chat? Was it Star Trek?
well, you
The
had,
guy
well,
with
before
the fur,
Enterprise, it was Voyager precedes Enterprise, right? I can't remember. I'm not really that Trekky enough.
the one with the guy from the Death of Stalin. He's the captain is a African American. Becomes eventually the African American lady. Do you know what I'm talking about? She's Spock's like adopted sister.
Discovery, Star Trek Discovery.
Discovery,
Oh,
thank
it's
you.
Discovery. That's
Discovery,
right.
yeah. Discovery
Right.
blended that sort of like magical aspect of Voyager with the
Mm.
scientific in a kind of beautiful way. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It's a slog because I don't like what how they made the Klingons look. To me, like it was offensive, and I didn't like that. I was like Worf's my boy, right? Like I can I'll die for Worf, but but um but at the same time, once you get past that and you find like you just like your brain you get numb to it, the show is actually really good and really intriguing. I think it blends the best of the elements of a lot of them, at least initially.
Yes.
Especially, I think
Well,
season two for sure.
yeah. John is mentioning Mushroom Drive.
Hell
There
yeah.
are elements in there that are purely, 21st century, as it were. The idea that the universe is more like a mushroom, or more like a rhizomatic network, and that's sort of an interesting idea. Not that it works well that way, but the discovery science to try and incorporate a kind of that narrative is, I think, really interesting and useful, and only the result of better, tech to sort of understand, the universe itself. So all those, sciencey things are pretty good in that context. But then again, I haven't seen anything since Discovery, so I have a lot to binge and catch up on
No,
if I ever get cable TV again.
yeah, when you do, highly recommend. If not, I can tell you where you can watch it for free offline. But but I also I will name names, but I want to get them right. But I have it in good authority that one of the writers of the first season who came up with the idea of the spore drive did ayahuasca with that
Mm.
mushroom guy who goes on Joe Rogan. So that's how he came up with it. So I will find out the exact
I,
names and I'll tell you guys next week.
we should do a whole thing on ayahuasca, just because it's just fascinating to me how, on the one hand, it's about poison, but it's also a resurrection of sort of peyote culture. So I find that interesting.
For sure. And I also like that notion that as psilocybin or mushrooms or fungus, as they spread through the forest, taking the idea that literally they are the connective tissue, which makes
Mm,
the entire forest basically one organism, because the fungus is sort
mm,
of one organism connected to all others, right? Literally connected to all
yes,
others,
yes.
whether it's feeding
No,
off the
truly.
animals growing on the dead plants or connected to the roots of the living. It connects everything together,
Hmm.
and they took that concept and put it into science fiction. You know what I mean? Like it's a very, very cool idea,
Yeah.
which was literally the result of
Well,
an ayahuasca trip. So like this is cool. We're
You
going
you
deep
oh yeah.
here.
guys you guys are starting to sound like you've been eating random shit out the back of my door here.
Well, we've been watching
Tripping
you
up.
nonstop, so we got a contact high. Is that what
Oh.
you're saying?
Look at our
Oh
lovely
God,
little medley of fried weeds. Oh,
indeed.
That's beautiful. Beautiful,
Let,
Joe.
let
oh,
look at that. Look at that.
these are these would have been
Yummy.
if you get them during the day, the dandelion flowers will be nice and big and they're quite buttery. They're
Mm,
not quite as nice as zucchini or yellow squash or marrow flowers, but they're I much prefer them when they're in this shape in the lollipop. You can do a whole lollipop version of them.
mm,
These are we may make some dandelion capers these days. And what's
nice.
cool about the leaves is all of the little wings here. They're all, once you dredge it through the tempura batter, it's all bunched up. But once it hits the hot oil, it spreads out and it spreads its wings and just totally inflates like that. It's lovely. And then of course we've
Mm,
got our little milkmaids. What are these again? These are Cardmia pratensis cuckoo's flower, cuckoo flower, or
nice.
cuckoo snot spit, which taste like kind of a watercress. These
Well,
these will have a kind of mustard flavor. These are barely bitter, and the crunch just does wonders. And then you can nibble on some die cut grated radish to cut the fat. So lovely.
I don't know if it'll get co-opted by fine dining because this is so labor intensive that
Mhm.
but you can imagine there's somebody is I don't I don't know if there is a foraging restaurant out there
Yeah,
instead of fine dining.
the abusive Noma, is
Oh
famous
yeah.
for. I'm not sure if they're still open or not. They might have. I think they might be in hibernation for a minute. Yeah, the Rene Redzepi kind of
Mm.
popularized foraging, but I think in the States you might have it a little bit more difficult. What with all them regulations and shit.
Oh
As long as it
God.
doesn't touch
Beautiful,
McDonald's,
man. Like honestly, like work of art. Seriously.
New meaning to the word weed eater.
yeah, we haven't bought any dark green leafy vegetables for 2 months, 3 months now.
I'm thinking of like a Simpsons type logo on like a van. Prof
Oh
John just
God.
eating the weeds. I love it. It's no, but honestly, like beautiful, beautiful. Seriously.
John, I'm telling you, please tell your groundskeeper to lay off the lawnmower and collect these. Give those to your chef and then have him whip up something. They're delicious.
Wait, John has a groundskeeper? If his name is Willie, I'm just gonna die. If John has groundskeeper Willie, I'm going to die.
Oh God.
Oh, do we need to? Oh, did you hit all the news? We've got Iran. There's the Ebola and
There's
Oh
too
monkey
God.
many.
virus.
There's too much news. There's a million things.
Mhm.
In the UK, there's a recent study that revealed that the entire right wing is completely funded by like Elon Musk adjacent
Oh,
pacts.
oh yeah,
Uh, the
absolutely. Well, they
Mhm.
it's a cabal. I mean, and unfortunately, they're all sort of interconnected. Steve Bannon and all Teal and all those other guys. It's all pretty much the same bunch of people. They just don't announce that they spend time talking to each other. But anyway, yes, the schedule is in front of us, and we're almost to the end of our little segment here. And tonight we're not. John is not unable, has been indisposed, and is not able to show his Hitchcockian sort of fare. But we'll get that next week, and that will be very exciting. John will be with us on Sunday, but later this evening, and I asked, and I forgot whether I got an answer or not, what we were going to do at 8:30 in terms of watching a replacement thing. And no, I'm not going to offer up Ask Me Anything, because people will ask all the wrong things. So anyway, there's that. There's the New Statesman with Lane. Lane, do you want to say anything about that?
Well, I forgot where we are. I think we're 3 episodes in, because we didn't do it last week. So
My apologies.
It's Rick Mail playing a Tory bastard. That's it. That's all you need to know. Because it's superb. Pure political malevolence. Actually, more malevolent than I'd say Malcolm Tucker, just minus the swearing.
Nah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, Armando and Iannucci.
1 second. Excuse me, guys. You have to excuse me just 5 minutes. I have to let my dog out. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Woof. Arjun let the dogs out.
Now we know who let the dogs out.
Woof, woof, woof.
It was always me. It was always me. You knew this.
Saturday night at 7 p.m. after New Statesman is at 5. Saturday night is The Apartment with Susanna. It's really an excellent film. I mean, truly a well-constructed set of narratives, and Jack Lemmon does an incredible job. And with respect to being a boomer, that culture kind of really existed. I mean, it's not as fantastic as you may think in terms of sort of the connivance of this is pre admin television, and so it's really quite interesting. And Billy Wilder does a great job, and the cinematography is more interesting in the sense of putting in incredibly impersonal 1960s modern interior corporate interiors. Like, I can't even figure out what the company did or made, but it's all kind of
Widgets?
It's strangely fascistic, and I can't remember what the fact that I can't remember what the corporation does is probably pretty much as interesting as it can be. And there are a bunch of other films like this, and I'm sure there's some academic has spent time trying to figure out the genre. I'm not, but
that Seconds film, the Seconds film that Susanna showed was kind of similar. Didn't know exactly what they did at this corporation.
If nothing else, The Apartment gives us at least one secondary or alternate use for your tennis racket. Anyway, spoiler alert. Music happens after that. Star Trek Next Generation watch party is at 5. John will be here. We don't know what the episode is. We're going in order, so I assume it's after the one where you have the regime change in the Klingon Empire, whatever that one is. And Lane, do you want to talk about what you're going to play after Star Trek at 5?
Yet more porridge from Ronnie Barker. It's the second series.
Yes.
And the writing gets better. The cast gets more diverse and better. and it's probably the best of all the series they did. It's a really good
it's
one.
sort of like The Wire, except on whatever acid.
In a Victorian prison.
Well, I actually am fascinated with British prisons because it is just the weirdest. The subculture is kind of interesting, not that different from American prisons in that context. Ostensibly more quote unquote humane, in the sense that Britain eliminated capital punishment. So, but all the other sort of things well, from an Anglophile point of view, they're really interesting to deal with. Let me just describe the rest of the schedule. On Monday, I don't know if Nate's here. Maybe Nate can talk a little bit about what we're doing on Monday, but I'll make an attempt. Malcolm Harris's book on Palo Alto. As much as you may think that that's a kind of weirdly trivial topic, it actually is quite wide and pervasive, considering that the same degree of corporate insanity is still there at Stanford. They just interviewed Theo Baker, who, with respect, is unfortunately going to be the next sort of son of Tim Russert thing on for NBC, I'm sure, but that's a whole nother story. And because there's a whole nother set of stories there, but he's got it. When you get your first book out just out of college, you get your first, you're doing book launches on cable TV. That's something. It's, the next generation is here in that sense. So, and he talks about the kind of corporatism that Malcolm Harris does in terms of Palo Alto and Stanford. And lest you think that's unimportant, it's pretty clear that it's the grounds where Elon went to school there. So, needless to say, you've got all that other stuff going on. Hasn't changed that much, and I think that the Malcolm Harris book sort of fills that story in a little bit. It was really enlightening for someone who grew up in the area, that all of the other historical parallel events were going on as you were kind of living one little segment of it. There were all these other connections, very mushroom-like. And so that was interesting. So that's on Monday night at 8 o'clock. Tuesday night is the Red Hour at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. I don't know if Bruce is here to chat about that. Bruce?
Believe an Arthur C. Clarke, going with the human's place in the universe.
Cool.
A story by Arthur C. Clarke. Can't remember that title though.
All right. Well, classic science fiction. Anyway, Red Hour, Tuesday night, 6 o'clock Central. So, and we have the reading usually available in our Discord. So come join us. We don't bite much. On Wednesdays is 6 p.m. I do a thing. It's Wednesday office hours. This week I'm writing something on quantum political economy. So it's an extension of where we were with semiotics. It all fits together, unfortunately or fortunately. And so all of that discourse kind of flows through this. And so I'm proposing that you can have, and without gaining the ire of some people who seem to think that Western Marxism is dead. I think there's a way to do this that accommodates both econophysics, that is, the people who use physics as an analogy, and it is a reasonable and interesting analogy. Whether it becomes a full metaphor is a whole nother question, but econophysics and there are people who do it anyway from a Marxian point of view. So it's all kind of nice, and I think that the literature is going to come together. But I think that's for the next generation to figure out whether there can be a heterodox political economy that has quantum elements in it. So that anyway, that's and yes, I won't use a lot of big words. I could try and we follow a text. I have the text. We'll sort of fiddle around with it and find in a fascinating way that you can, with all due respect to Western Marxism of the last century, you can actually deconstruct capitalism. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. That's on Wednesday. Thursday, we have Bring the News at 7. And then we're back at Friday. And John will be back, and we will begin a whole series with Hitchcock, which I will find it's always more. Well, anyway, that's a whole nother story. We can talk about that. I don't know if John wants to talk about it. Can croak out a thing, but that's okay. Arjun is still letting his dogs out. Woof, woof, woof. And there's more food. There's the food.
We've got some chowing down to do.
Indeed. Is anyone up where you are to take advantage of the repast?
They were desperately asking how much longer.
There we go. It all looks really interesting and probably tasty, as they say.
Definitely. Eat your weeds, people. Eat your weeds. Just make sure they're not sprayed.
So we've pretty much done all the things that we needed to do. I guess we're going to have to, now that we've gone 6 minutes into whatever we're going to do next, which we do within our little thing. You should come join us. We do kind of interesting little things. And as I think you can tell, and thankfully that Arjun has joined us, we have a broader range of amusing things to chat about. Aside from the fact that there are things that we all share and that you'll find, I think, interesting. So you should come visit us, theautonomouscollective.net.
Register for the newsletter and/or get on the Discord.
Exactly. Well, we haven't done a lot of that promotion, but we should do that promotion, and we will also promote the Arjun like thing. History. That might, yes, that's right. Like us in those of you watching this should like us, and we're going to try and expand into other things, Twitch or some other,
I've got the whole streaming set up, or we're still working on.
Yeah. As with everything, we will try and do better next week. So
see y'all.
You can hit the outro there, Joe. Thank you, Joe.